So we say greetings. We dear upon the last leg, because we say Ramadan, and we want just leave the thing for another time. So we just are coming for tell y'all, say, well, we are going to break for our fasting, the month called Ramadan. But we want to show you something in relation to Christianity in a way, you know. So, no fret, because you not get nothing yet. Yeah, so in the meantime, have a look at these names that the Europeans have given to God. I feel set to do this because, yeah. And I play two things on Malcolm, Melakel Shabazz, and then we say guidance, because we're observing the month called Ramadan. So, hold tight, we'll try. There's something there. And then we're going to play like 7 tunes. 7, you know. Yeah. We'll play like 7 rhythms. And bow out, you know. Yeah. So, well, there's something there. There's some things that I did. In a PowerPoint. I want to come up. Yes, so I've had many conversations with people, them, especially to me they read something and then I travel. Because I don't know what happened to us in the diaspora. Somehow we follow everything that these slave catchers says and do without checking, you know? Like people use the word Christianity, and then some people say Christianity come from Africa. And me I say, how come? And then you read and you hear from these people at them at this conference and at Antioch, and them debate something, and it went on for a long time, and then next thing you know, the Roman Emperor Caesar, who was before Constantine, come up with this thing here that them call Christianity. And it's Rome who spread this thing. And when I talk Roman Catholic, because some people then start think no, the Roman Catholic. When I talk Roman Catholic, we talk Rome. You know? So that's the advent of that name, that title, you know? And then they made it also legal and lawful in Rome. Now the Romans is the one responsible. But the Romans are the people them that was persecuting, executing, and crucifying people. And the crucifixion of Rome was for people who are disobedient or disobey the law, you know. So when you enter central Rome, you see a whole heap of cross and people them tie up on the cross and so forth. And the bad man them, the real terrible one them kneel. The rest of them just tie up. And that's to show people them, like in England now, when you come to a place now, it tell you see you're into London or you're into Manchester or you're entering Oxford or wherever, you know. So with Rome now, you see this on the entrance. Make you understand if you come in there, you try create some form of corruption and stiff and you're militant and you're activist and all them something there. That's what you will finish up as. Like those who you see on your way in. So that's Rome. There's a history of them doing these things. It wasn't a one-off, right? But when you listen to the people who call themselves Christian Europeans, this Jesus crucifixion, whoever that is, again, is like a major thing, a big thing. And it's not a big thing. Again, it never happened, but it's no big thing. You know what I mean? It's just that them never want no religious thing around. And when Christ was around, Yeshua, these people wanted to catch him. See? So we mustn't some people don't know that, and some people do, or they've heard it in an echo. So he was always escaping political alliances. Yes, he wasn't sitting around beating up and arguing with what they want to call Jew and everything. Him go to the temples, them any place that was worshiping, and him deal with this thing. For me was little bit about 12 or 11 and so forth. You know, very early in my chat to the scribes and the Pharisees and the leading bodies, you know, the custodians of the books and the people them who should be retaining what Moses were given, i.e. the commandments, you know, the tablets. So Rome didn't want him around. So it wasn't like he was there with them and having tea and caviar. That wasn't the case. So now I'm building that to tell you so that the person now that come way after him is this guy called Saul, that the people them position within them ranks. He changed his name to Paul, and he was a persecutor of people who follow Moses and people who follow Yeshua, or who were listening to Yeshua. See? Okay. And just like before Yeshua and with Moses, these people always have some kind of premonition and everything about somebody's coming, and then them tell their soldiers and everybody to go to villages and everything, and the firstborn or the secondborn male child for kill it. So the same thing was happening in the time of Yeshua. They might look for this promised child, you know, Messiah and everything. And that's the course of action that they were taking. And people tend to, not people, but the way these theologians them teach the public, them leave these things out. And little more them bring Paul in, but they make Paul seem to be this guy that knew Yeshua, and is it's 100 years or more after Yeshua. You see? Maybe I'm wrong there, but he didn't know him. He never met him. He knew nothing about him. I hear say, them say. But the people who educate him about him was Rome. See? So people like the disciples, him try find them to get rid of them. He wasn't trying to find them to have some discourse with them and oppose them and agree over here to disagree over there. Nothing of the kind. Right? That's why Barabbas is one who kept moving. See? Now, today's people want to tell us that we Muslims gravitate to him because him sound like us. Well, he sound like us and we sound like him and everyone else, for that matter, that they deal with God. So where 1 and 2 or 3 are gathered together, God says in the midst. So if there's a likeness of him, that means truth must be there. Something must be tangible. That's my take. So now we have this Constantine, the guy of Rome now giving birth to this name Christians, and then they want to put Peter and Matthew and these people, whoever they are. You understand? Because we mustn't forget, no. We are dealing with Africa, but yet still these people are talking about the Greeks, and they're talking about a Mediterranean side of Africa at the same time, you see? And they never had no language more than the fact that some of them were able to speak Latin or converse in Latin. So we need to go all of those things and find out that it's tricky, is a trickified situation. But true, we are the children of the slave, and we are go to school with them, and well, not with them, but we had to attend school, and they taught us all that we know. See, we find ourselves feeling that we need to just stay there because anything outside of there cannot be right. I don't know how come people think like that. You understand? And so you have people them saying that Christianity, right, because of the Greeks, them was able, some Greeks were educated in Kemet, as in Egypt. Then want to say, yeah, the Greeks, them take the thing like we had this thing. And we didn't have this thing. The Africans never had this thing. This thing that these Europeans have is a concoction of their own with different sources add into this something here, and they're elevating themselves. Hence why everything that them have there represent them, look like them, the characters of them, the pigmentation of them, and so forth and so forth. And then we are falling into the thing because it is said to us that it's God who sent it. See? So the question to be asked of Africans or anyone who have this kind of think mindset, what is it, and can you research what is that Africa had prior to these Europeans coming with this something here? You understand? So it would be that people that say, we are chat about. You understand? And that's because they're always showing Africa as a degrading, despicable, and people that don't have a culture and this and that and other things. And then them tell you this thing that Africans never written anything, right? So like Egypt is not Africa, you know. So them just have oral reflection and history and yeah. So no, you don't count Africa as a place that would have a culture and have religion or a religious doctrine. See? So automatically the game started and it's 2-0 to the Europeans. 2-0. Not 20, you know. 2-0. So now the name now come and them say, well, Christianity and Africa, and then you go place like Ethiopia and everything, you know, and you find say that there was nothing called Christianity in Ethiopia. is when England go into Ethiopia and inject themselves in the Ethiopian culture and educational system that this name got introduced, right? England, 5 years after the Italians come, and not the Italians with Mussolini, the Italians with the Pope of Rome and his envoys and everything went into Ethiopia. Because them find that England are deal with something already. And then 3 years after the Italians, here comes now the Germans. You know what I mean? Our friend called Martin Luther, he said, not him, but the branch of what he did establish, the Lutherans. Okay, and that's a little snippet walking through fast with my tongue with Christianity and its advent out of Europe coming into or being injected into Africa. See? So in the meantime, people start talking now Hebrew, Amharic, Swahili, and Arabic. And nobody now turn around and say, wait a minute, no European language them. See? So people now who's not studying and thinking and was given the privilege to think for themselves don't understand, never really say, well, hold on a minute, Hebrew, what's that? Where that come from? Where's Amharic coming from? See? So people get lost because they not care to try to understand. So then 20-something years of them life come now, and them start shouting, yeah, I'm a Hebrew. And out the backside, they want to get there, and then you know the origination of not the language, but where is Hebrew? Who are these Hebrews? Where them resonate from? See? And Amharic, and Swahili, and Tigranian, you understand? And then Arabic, let alone Hausa and everything else, see? Okay, so that's just to show you people how rich that information pertaining Africa is. Like me personally, I can turn around and say, well, we can blame Africans for that. But then England is not African. Europe is not African. Europe is Europe. The Africans are at home. It's me who's in Europe. So for me to get more and learn more and even understand the language and the dialects and everything else, it's Africa me would have forgot. Or if I can associate myself with an African in Europe and take him or her time and show them how much feeling and emotion and compassion I have for African understanding, because I'm an ex-African as a child of the slave and and tear, and see how far me can get. But Caribbean and British blacks don't have that. So they know no language. And yet still them have a whole heap of soundbite. Because you get a little something as per not, and it's natural, and we get excited. That's natural. But that's juvenile. That's not an adult. But an adult must behave like that too. When the adult don't know nothing and just come into something. And it's like realization of something late in the day. So we have to give Jack his jacket and give credit where credit is due. But then we mustn't overstep with boundary because, that one you fit me. You understand? Just like tribe. A man sees a Dan, a man sees a Levi, a man sees a Azasha, and so forth, and a Simeon, and so on. You understand? And a Nephtali, and so on and so on. It went good. But is it aligned? Is the alignment of it, is it authentic in relation to Dawood, as in David, and Solomon, also Moses? Is it in the alignment? So now you find, say, well, there is a branch, but it not sit right. Why? Because Jacob, who is the father of the 12, It is his history, the understanding of him, and his family tree that we need to look at and take guidance from, who the European called Jacob. Okay, so now you get that, now you move on. Okay, so you can see that Gadman, the third tribe of Israel, was going somewhere, but he extracts something from Ethiopia, not in the light of Selassie, in the light of David and Solomon, and the branch of Bani Israel. Yes, the 12th tribe of Israel, Bani Israel, Jacob. Okay. So, only thing is that Gadman now take these months and align these months with the names. So, we had the names. How him get to align the months now, that's just him. Okay? Because you go Ethiopia, you don't see that alignment of those months. Not the way Gadman put them. But the names, the title, no problem. No problem. But he would not diverse how him come to put Dan in October and so forth, and Levi in June, and Blair and so forth. Okay. So all I'm saying is that we got a lot of little hit bits here and there and everything. And it's no fault of our own, you know. It's because the way the people them raised us, educated us, and didn't want us to know too much of something. And sometimes them branch us off somewhere, and we go there and we spend a decade there to find that someone that come before us or maybe after us now make us to know like Ben Buchanan and change everything around, and we're like rock stone. Because now you find somebody not that's got scholarly work, all these titles, but they have the historical references and evidence where from their own country. See? And then they spent their time in Europe looking at what the Europeans have written about us or his people, as in Ethiopia, as in Africa. See? And then break that down and let us understand who's us in the diaspora, in England, across England, and the United States and the Caribbean. So we become privileged there, but a lot of us did not attend these lectures, did not know about this person, and so forth and so forth. And by the time we get to find out now that other people was rubbing shoulders with that person, sitting down having tea and eating food and getting autograph and signed books and everything, we think like, wow, because this is a person that you could touch. They don't behaving like no superstar, whatever the hell that shit is. So we have to look at ourselves and see how far the man took us, as in the European, the white man, and how far we try to advance ourselves, and how much is it that we really want to know to benefit ourselves. Because you see, you can have a whole heap of information, you know, but if you're not benefiting you, as in changing your lifestyle, improving your lifestyle, your morals and your culture and everything, what's the point of having all this data? You know what I mean? It's just useless data. It's good, the data, but how it's being amplified is useless. Kind of know what to do with it. You see, things about changing, improvements of life, not the fact that I'm a Hebrew or a Muslim, and me not living. But yet still I want to make everybody understand so that I'm a Hebrew or I'm a Muslim. Now I'm happy to be that. Now if the child turn around and say, wait, so what do you do? Said, what do you mean? Since you're this Hebrew, what is it that you do? See? So there are people over there who costumes, you feel good about that. Natural. Are you living? Are your life being improved and elevated? See, a problem again. Because how you substantiate yourself as in relation to the thing that you just got to find out about, it's just to make your friend and believe that I understand that you understand something. I ain't with that bullshit. I'm not in that. I'm not in that. I don't begrudge a person who swim in the deep end or dive. Listen, do what you want to do. But you see, when I am doing my thing, I'm elevating me. And those who did not understand are to think that they can hear something I'm saying and get something. Alhamdulillah if them get something. Alhamdulillah if they don't get something. But it's not thrilling me because I live my Islamic life. And I will live it and die with it because I understand it. You see, I was always searching, but I understand it. And it's a way of life. You see, it's a way of life. But you see all this Jesus and this and that and other things like that, I'm asking to say to my people, black people here in Britain and British blacks, how is it that you take something that came in 1522 and the something never had no J within it, and the name of the person that they try to tell you that you're representing, because they've changed the damn title of that person from Yeshua to Jesus. Are you mad? Or you don't have any bit of sense in your brain? Even a grain of blasted flour. To understand that the character of Yeshua to the character of this thing that them say is Jesus, who is that? Who are they? How is it that you're lining them up? When the man in goddamn tell you that the person that is transforming into Jesus is Yeshua. He didn't tell you that. There's no scripture where him tell you that. And don't say, yo, here what happened. You see, Yeshua, it's fitting for us to call him Jesus. And from here now on in, Yeshua now is Jesus now is Yeshua. And there's the whole world I can tell that to. And there's no PhD and DD and that can tell me I'm wrong. Because there's none. There's none. There's no literature where the people them tell the general population of the earth. We have now changed Yeshua's name to Jesus. So from this day forward, Yeshua's now name is entitled Jesus. Them not representing Yeshua. That's why them try to make this Jesus God. And this I am. I am is not the title of God. The man said I am. And everybody go to school and them do them little them not Jeremy rhymes, them kindergarten, and them do the thou, there, thee, and when. And they know what I am means. This man come and tell us that I am means God. And because God told Moses to tell Pharaoh that I am is who sent me. Huh? What is that? Pharaoh them was worshiping God Almighty. Pharaoh them never had some other God that nobody else never know, you know. This is the other thing with black people. You know, read something and try to understand something. And don't ask people them who have the understanding of what them call hieroglyphics and from Sudan and everything. No, you know, concoct on the thing on yourself and come up with all these things and get in little groups and tickle yourselves and have orgasms. Stop that shit. So these little snippets, these people have gone around and tell, and you know, the English people, them good at this thing, you know, and then pull something from over there, something from, and mold it with this feather and everything, and people sit down and feel convinced. Why? Because the people say they're speaking from the Bible, and they're saying that they're speaking with the Holy Spirit that's anointed them. And black people that sit there and think like, hold on a minute. No, I would say hold on a minute. The rest of them sit down there to reality like say, yo, you know what happened? The Holy Ghost must be with that person. Look how much thing them just talk about. Look how them bring the I am up there and everything. And all I'm going to say is, hold on a second. Let me ask you a question. You see the pharaohs them and the kings of Egypt, who did they follow and worship? Then they start telling you about Horus and everything else. And then I said, no. If that's all you know, then you don't qualify. Pardon? I said, if that's all you know, you don't qualify. Because that's the changing of the gods in Egypt. That's the changing of Ramses. That's Moses' stepfather's son. Moses' stepfather's son is named Ramses. Moses was off in what we call, not Yemen, Nubia. Huh? Because he fled. Remember, he run because he licked somebody and the people them shout out murder and right? So his stepbrother, right? His stepfather died, his brother now is in charge. His stepbrother, Ramses. Huh? And Moses returns back to Kemet with a wife and a child. Oh yes, Moses. Now Ramses wasn't particularly jubilant having him back. But he hugged them and rare and everything. But it make him know that things are run different here. And Moses saw that. He recognized that. And Moses told him what God said to tell him. Because him changed the thing. The nonsense that we are seeing now and trying to unravel, him did that. Meanwhile, Akhenaten fled. That's another branch within the same Kemet, Egypt. Him fled, and they hear them say that him brought about monotheism. Monotheism was there, but this youth here changed the something, and everything crashed. And because he was so stubborn, and it made Moses and even his own scientists and musicians and everybody understand, say that he is the God right there. And them threatened them that he will cut off them and on the right side and one on the left and him foot on the left, them hand on the right and the foot on the left. And all these things that him have the power to do all of that. And all it is that him tell him soldier, yo, chop off best right hand and him left foot. You see? And Moses was afraid of him. And God tell him, I'm with you. And then he said, but I can't speak. And then he said, listen, your brother, him said that my brother would have to talk for me. And God said, okay. The words that I've given unto you, Aaron will repeat them. His brother. So that's to make you understand, something that they wasn't like not familiar with each other. And Moses was trained by his father and by the Egyptians to be an architect. Oh yes, Moses. So you see, you have to know these things, understand these things. Everything you're understanding is white man something. And it don't fit up. Because we can sit down there with all these theologians now and say that. And you will see that they look at each other and they will give each other some different hand movements to say that he's coming from this school and that school. And y'all still don't know those reality things. I'm privileged to have that understanding. You understand? And I'm not bigger than anybody else, but I just have an understanding. See? And have an education too. So these things is what I'm here trying to make people understand, that we have come of age, man. Stop touring that line. Huh? And the best part of us is who we are as Africans. We're the moralists of God's creation. Every other species on this earth, and that's what I figured out for myself. Nobody not teach me that. Huh? You look at the Chinese man is an artist of patience and skills and craft and everything. The Indian man, yeah, every creature, every species within the kingdom and everything of human beings, we all have assets. We all have talents. See, in the scheme of human of life. We're not talking about electronics and this and gizmos. No, we're talking about human delicacies and so forth. And that's the beauty of the nations and tribes, to know each other and not to despise each other, because we're all intertwined, and we're all here to serve and support each other. Not to be at conflict. And the people who we at conflict, we're supposed to look at them and think like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? But we don't, God damn it. We want to be on the side of the people that seem to have the power. Even though sometimes when the power lick your ass, you don't want to be associated with them. But when the power don't lick your ass, you want to be associated with them. So which side of the fence are you really on? Do you understand? For yourself, not for me, not for... Understand? And then when a person's sick, you're on your own. And you want the best of mankind to supervise or support you. Whether the person's a doctor or not, you want the best of mankind, right, to be able to help you. If that don't happen, we all gonna die, and you will die sooner than later. So what's life then? Life is a journey of experiences and realization, and making a path clear for oneself, the body, to exist, to survive long on the earth. Keeping the soul as clean as possible, so when it returns to the Creator, it's not with defects. Averse defects that him say, listen, no more will you roam. What's that? Your existence is finished. But someone say, oh, the backside you know that. Allah said so. Allah says so. God says so. So I want an innings in this earth that we are going to have, and I want a pure innings in the next one where we originated from. See? Which is my soul. I want my soul returning back to the Creator with purity that the Creator allows me to retain. You understand? Now, someone's going to say, wait, are you going to be back here? I don't know. I don't know about back here, back there, wherever. But I know that once I have that peace education, peace understanding, it's worth working towards. Anything else is fiction. What's that? All of these monkey-ass things about the anarchy and all of this. How is man come up with all these illusions? Because he wants to be. He wants to be. He wants to exist. And he wants to be in the know. So what does he do? He goes into the pits. He goes into toxic. He goes to illusions and everything else to try and justify something. And why is he doing all of that? What is he doing? He's hindering other people in the process and transforming people's minds. Then he pick a Rihanna, a Jay-Z, a this, that, and all kind of backside people. And these people are supposed to be like the major people that everybody ratted to talk about and look upon. You understand? Where they look upon them tits or them backside, them a look upon. Ignorance. So what was Moses doing with Ramses? Ramses is behaving in the same way. But Moses is telling him, God says, Return to what you know. Desist from these behaviors and these thoughts. And the man kept going on and on and on. Right? So when he passed judgment now on the people in that favor what Moses were saying, and Moses returned back turned around and said, mind what you're saying. That which you put out there is going to hit you. And he was so arrogant and presumptuous. And then went on with his bossy and egotistic mentality. And what happened? Him son dies. And then wife come to him with the boy and said, did he not tell you to retract and keep your tongue behind your teeth? And he took the child from her. The child was not moving. What does he do? He put the child on top Horus, the statue, and call all them people them in and everything. Both him must start worship and light up this and light up that and everything. And not a damn thing happened. And those people them told him, you were wrong. But he forced them to do these rituals that they had not a damn understanding of. It's something he concocted himself. Command break now, which we call Fajr. He's sending his early watchmen for call Moses and say, yo, listen here. Go, take your people and get out of here. And the minute him see the people them are rally round when it come to Duha, the midday prayer, him change him right his mind. Him change his mind. And what happened? His wife tell him, stop being this way. He got vexed with her. But what happened? Moses tell him, it's not me you work against, It's God you work against. So what happened now? The pestilence came, the water was changed, everything. And then I look upon Moses and I said, wait. And Moses said, I told you, it's not me you're working with, you're working against. It's God you work against. I told you, mind what you said. And him cried. But read that in the Bible. He cried. And him asked Moses, for forgiveness. Which forgiveness? Him asked Moses to stop the things that's happening. And Moses tell him again, it's not me you work with, It's God you work against. Was he telling him clearly? You are thinking that you're so powerful and you beat up man and you listen. No, you're still thinking that. You're thinking that you're fighting me. You're representing yourself against. You're positioning yourself against me. I'm showing you that you are not. It's God you deal with. All the things that's happening, God is doing it, not me. I don't have that power. I don't have that understanding, that strength, nothing. I'm only telling you what him tell me to tell you. See? Now, in the Bible, that is written there clear. But people want to say, yo, God doesn't exist and it's all about Putin and America and England. Listen, man, stop with the nonsense. It's better a person say, listen, I don't have that realization that you have and everything. I beg you my ears. And cool. Stop being... And other people who branch off quick, there's nothing wrong with that. Branch. What do you mean? Everybody have an opportunity to do anything. But I know one thing. No one is taking this earth or anything of this earth and this life with them. Even the body, the shell that we have will decay. It's that soul that person isn't tuning with yet, is that what we have to deal with. You understand that thing called the soul? So now you have to look at these names called Yeshua, called Jesus, and see all these different names. Those names were the name of God. Now you go look for the name of Yeshua. Best what you going on with. Man, make people understand laziness is a curse, man. Those who refer to Christ as Jesus instead of his Hebrew name Yeshua are worshiping the wrong Savior. The name of God in the Old Testament is Yahweh, Hebrew. A common title of God in the Hebrew Bible is Elohim. And in 1524, the letter J was created here in England, across Europe, of these Latin paganistic set of people. Yes. And that's factual. That's not concocted by the mind that want to think and separate and all of these things. No. There's no A-level certificate for that. And they've even put that out there themselves. You understand? So, what is that to do for black people? Black people is in bed with all of this stuff. Black people, when we would not elevate ourselves and develop ourselves outside of this. Black people is on the plantation in them brain. Black people's system, imagination, aspiration is hook, line, and sink in that. In that. We black people love white people more than we love we mother. All of us. Someone prove me right or wrong. All of us. So we not leave that. But then you got some other black people that go turn around and say, yo, you see them Arabs? Them enslave you too. And I'm saying, who's the Arab? You know them? Do you know them? Can you identify them? And they'll say, yeah, them Arabians and everything. And I stop there. You understand? Useless conversation. They're going to tell me the people in Bahrain, the people in Kuwait, the people, and everything. And I said, I'm done with it, man. And then when I know why, I said, you don't have the understanding. So why should I prolong? Because what you're going to do now is kind of domicile me, coming with all your other isms and schism. I ain't not going to hear nothing else from me. So stay with your Kuwait and your Saudi Arabia and everybody. When you're going to get some knowledge of Africa and knowledge of a tribe of people and where they come from, and then the titles that Europeans give you, then you will see that your grandfather and your grandmother was that. Could have been. Not was. Could have been. And then them say, right. I say, okay. You understand? And move on. So it's an awakening of true understanding, because in England we have the Celts. Yes? And we have the Irish. No, the Welsh. And then we have the Irish. But we also have the Vikings in England. But yes, so them come from Scandinavia and these places. But they resided here also. I don't want to hear nothing about no black persons. Do you understand? And these are people who have customaries, and they all look the same, don't they? We, on the other side, we look different. We have a different pigmentation, so you shouldn't be categorizing us in this English thing, right? It's just that we was here. We came here. Okay. So you can go through all of that, but Africa now you say, oh. And then you see that this Habashi, this Arab, is brown as in a Nubian. He's a Hashemite. Oh, yes. But yet still someone came and borrowed from us and steal from us our Semitic lineage. But how much of us had the education to understand that? Unless the white man turn around and tell you and put it in his dictionary, you wouldn't write it, no, because you didn't try to understand and didn't try to rub shoulders with your African brothers and sisters on the continent. So now you get to understand that these three languages, four languages actually called Semitic language, and they got this European set of people going to call you anti-Semitic, and it's going to take you 70-something rioted years to come to some realization of your something close to knowing something about self in relation to the motherland and its culture, its morality, its dignity, its ethics and its principles and its character, and try to defend it mentally before you defend it verbally. Then you think like, rock, stone, what the hell happened? Huh? What happened is we don't educate ourselves. We have discussions. We don't have the institution. We have discussions. We have debates around the corner in the barber shop, underneath the pillow, round the corner, on top of sex, and and two ganja, this and that and that. And that's meant to be our education. Yeah, we can scramble like that. But people who have to want dignity and modality, that can't work. That cannot work. It's inadequate. It's inadequate. But it makes those people who are sit down and tailor-made their backside and them have these interjected conversations and score 1 and 2 points like fucking football, it's going to make themselves important. I detest that kind of nonsense. My mother didn't raise me like that. No. And the elders, the adults that I sat down and listened to never raised me, never tutored me like that. They would ask you before them finish chat with them a chat, is there a question you have? And that time then it was a question, is there something you want to know? There's something you want to say. Yes, and done. Little more is when them start using the thing. Is there a question? They say something before your mind. Say it now or hold your peace. And then them see these things that today I call prayer. Them says something, sometimes them I'll put them hand together and so forth, or not them raise them arms and them say something. I know we know that those things were called dua today, but they're prayers. And that segment is finished. And they don't joke about it. That segment is finished. You understand? I grow. And I feel proud of that. Now, England affected how you move, because you're part of the civilization. But it shouldn't dictate. You understand? And many of us have worked hard not to allow ourselves to mentally integrate. Because now their culture, their habits and everything bombards us. And before you know it, we start acting and reacting like them. Let alone later more someone come tell you about the way you're thinking now. And play acting. So some weeks ago, I said, how we get like this? What's that? Are we getting to the drugs? Are we getting to all this hustling and bustling and everything? Huh? We came from somewhere that didn't do all of that backside. I know we're the most dangerous set of rotted people, and we ain't got nothing. We're still trying to survive and struggling. But yet still we inflict all these decadence on ourselves. On ourselves. Here, America, everywhere else here. And then in the Caribbean too. And the white man use the Caribbean as a plantation tourist industry and everything. So are we elevating ourselves if morality and dignity isn't the thing that keeps us and give us pride? Everything is hustling. Nonsense. Nonsense. Dog eat dog. Stone. Yo. So that's Christianity and Yeshua. Huh? So again, those who refer to Jesus, to Christ as Jesus instead of his Hebrew name, Yeshua, are worshiping the wrong Savior, looking for salvation, looking for the scriptures, the tablets of Moses. What Moses gave, man tried to erase. So Yeshua was sent to reaffirm that and to make people them adhere to that. What did Rome and Paul do? Tell people them that Moses' era is finished. The New Testament is the thing. What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Muhammad? Ask them for the gospel of Isa alayhi salam. So when them come up with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and Paul as the gospel, so you don't have the Injil of Isa alayhi salam, which is the light of that which Moses brought, the similitude. So they don't uphold those tenets, 360 plus covenants. They don't. So I'm going to tell you so that to erase that now, forget that part there. That part is finished. We've gone into this grace and Holy Spirit and everything. And then you're saying, God, nobody does stir and say, wait, who told you that? What rule Allah tell you that? It's them who say that. And every 3-4 years, them put something and take something out, or they reaffirm something and so forth, and they're saying that this is God's work. That's why them can marry one another and everything, and transform everything, and say that if Jesus was here, I'm sure he would have said that him love me. But he doesn't like what I do, but he loves me as the person. So them disconnect the action from the person. So what is that now? I can go out there now and steal, and them catch me, and them there I dare the court. I can use my brain and goes to the judge. Listen, I'm standing before you, but who is here now is not guilty of the charge. Because at the time I was caught, I was someone else. I'm no longer that person. I'm Christ now. So you cannot charge me for theft. Because that's what they're saying. But it might sound strange to you. But I will use it. Now, am I going to get away looking like I do? Definitely not. Let me be a white man to write it and say that. Hey, there's no case to answer. Because for him thing, it's his thing. It's his thing. Just like how I got into welfare work. The man them said that 18 young men robbed some unknown people. And I'm like, what kind of English is that? So who told you that they did that? How come you ain't charging me? What? I said, how come I'm not one of those who you're charging for robbing unknown persons? And what is it that they stole from these unknown persons? And who's this unknown person that I said this thing, and the more you think about it and the more you talk it doesn't make sense. So what is it? These people needed to react to what took place at that carnival, because they tried to fight the young people, us, and they got a whipping. Nobody was afraid of them. Now, to justify themselves, them decide to grab people from different districts and everything and charge them not for affray and grievously body harm at Notting Hill Gate, but for something. Something just had to happen. So our borough got licked. But in the 3 weeks prior to the carnival, they were in our borough doing what? Going to our local youth clubs and youth centers and Methodist Church Hall, where we attend, where young black people attend, just to ascertain how many of them went to the carnival. And once them get a number to write it, that's when them grab up people. So I still wanted to know how come I was the young training youth leader and you ain't take me. How come? And all of us were together up to today. And God Almighty know that. You understand? So I got involved, right, in this flimsy use and misuse of the English literature and English language right here. My father was very upset. What are you pushing yourself in these people think for? I said, but it could have been me there. So if I was there, what would you be doing? What questions would you be asking? Will you go along with what they're saying? It doesn't make sense. Who told them that I robbed somebody? And rob them of what? And we're going to just sit down here, stand up here, and accept that? Nah, I can't do that. I wasn't even right till 17. You understand? But I remember what Michael said. Use the law. Use the law, man. And that's what I went about doing. So that's how I am. I'm stubborn and rotted. You understand? That's how I am. So leave that alone. You know what I mean? Ramadan. So I'm going to play these 2 tunes, these 7 tunes, and then we're gone. So here comes number 1. Yo.
I'm a real rootin' tootin' 6-gun shooter from the old way. And it's here to know me. Whether he has a double barrel shotgun or a doggone cannon, I'm the fastest man alive. Like the birds in the trees, my heart sings a rhapsody of love for you. Girl, you warm my heart the very first time I laid eyes on you. I know that your love belongs to someone else, but girl, I've got to have you for myself. I'm gonna keep on trying, oh baby, till I win your love. Girl, I'm gonna keep on trying, oh baby, till I win.
Yeah, Marcia, hold on. Might choose your Harris Andy, man. Rockers International early artists. Yeah. Everton De Silva artists. Hungry Tongue artists. Now tell you, man.
I keep on telling her it's not Rasta. It's the
Settle Rockers. Come again.
thank you, Lord, for this moment.
feeling.
Mighty, mighty. Oh gosh, man, come again.
Oh, you man, listen carefully. Ooh, yeah. Oh, you man, put down your weapon. Oh, you man, go learn your lesson. Life is for living. Let's live with love, the rich and the poor, the young and the old. Let's live, let's live, let's live and love. Oh, youth man, don't chuck.
Great song called Solid Power. Listen. Big tunes, them, you know, serious tunes. Come again. Now, before you do that, do this. You have to go there first. Come. Ghetto child.
Child to ghetto.
How you mean? Me just have one preamp, me just finish bill. Come again. Big tune.
Why you wanna fight me? Why you wanna fight me?
I can immigrate to Nigeria, Uganda, or Tanzania, Ethiopia right away.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Like children of the ghetto, like children of the ghetto, to the right, to the right.
Swahili's in my family. Listen good.
Free up the people. Free up the world. We wanna be free.
See, when Augustus Pablo make sure that me have all about 50 versions of this, you know. Even Coxon couldn't touch me. Come on, man. Let's be real. Sensible.
Free up.
When them call me, best. When them call me, Black Label. Never call me best. Black Label.
Free up the people. Free up the world.
Mighty Harris, Kujalande. Silver Morris, mixing, engineer, Channel 1 Studio.
We
Studio
wanna
1.
be free.
Yeah.
From Babylon's captivity.
Boy, my son.
We
Settle your artist. Early tipper tone manager, man. Your artist. Yeah!
Free up the people. Free up the world. We wanna be free from Babylon's captivity.
One tear, Zebulon.
We wanna be free, yeah, from Babylon's captivity. Look how long we've been downing, slaving for 400 years. Still we can't be free.
And the brother will tell you. And the good brother will say, yeah.
Oh, Father, hear our cry, 'cause we all wanna survive. Tribulation, so hard to bear. Brothers and sisters, stop the fighting. Think of equal rights, 'cause now is the time. We must live right, try to unite and live as one. Let's fight for the party.
Confusion. That's some need for this endless illusion. Yeah. All right.
No shadows behind me. We break on chains. We wanna be free.
I'm telling you, man. Come again.
Comes the night, oh, walking through the front door. Oh, we, baby, I don't love you no more. Now you come to tell me what a fool you've been. Well, people been walking, talking all over town. Here comes the night.
Yo, big youth. We are say, come. Come in, man.
Good day to the people in Cassava Peace. Now this song little we call Cassava Peace is how we play. And so you gotta let the love shine right along the way, is how we tell you. Good guys! You got to live the life you love and love the life you live, as I would really say. The song I call Cassava Peace is how we really tell you.
Understand me, man. Come again.
Don't worry when this world gets you down. Don't get jumpy. You're not a come around. Don't get weary.
something to do. Don't get frustrated.
Yes, international people them. You can't take the land with you. You can't bury the house, you know. You're going to get buried. I will get buried too. So enjoy yourself and select the guiding things I would tell to you. See? Understand me, you know. I am independent. I'm not beholden to no one. See? So run up your gums and do what you want to do. But remember, if it's something that's upsetting to me, watch Adam's Family with you. I tell you, I tear you down. It's not a threat. It's a reality. Republic, all this.
Tomorrow may not be the same day. Oh yeah, hold your head up high and we will all be free. So now, each one teach one, you got to. Each one teach one, I just don't know why. Some people have to keep us down. Each one teach one, you got to help them, my friend. So now, each one teach.
Young Jacob Miller for Rockers International. See it? Come again.
Hear the trumpet blowing the alarm, my people, my people. Freedom shall come for all, my people one day. Too much commercialization of Rastafari. Too much commercialization of Rastafari. Who said Jah not dread? Jah well dread. Who said Jah not dread? Who said Jah not dread? Jah well dread, my people. You have the uptowners coming downtown to try to get themselves dread. But the time will come when the Father shall pick the chosen one. Who said Jah not dread? Jah well dread. Too much commercialization of Rastafari. Oh my people, hear the trumpet blowing so loud in the east, from the west, from the north and the south. My people can hear. Who said Jah not dread? My people, I know the cloud of Jah shall fall upon all the Babylon. Jah will dread, my people.
Jacob Miller. And the special for me is done by Jalef Han, Rockers International, again and again. Yeah.
No speech, no language, where the voice is not heard. Yes, there is no speech, no language, where the voice is not heard. They can talk, but they can't show no blow. The higher the mark monkey climb, it is the more we will expose. So I said no, 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 no speech, no language where the voice is not heard. Not heard, not heard. I said there's no speech, no language where the voice is not heard. Not heard, not heard. They all fight against me without a cause, but I will never stop living up to my master's laws. No speech, no language where the voice is not heard. Not one single word. I said no, 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 no speech, no language where the voice is not heard. Not one single word. Talk, but they can't throw no blows. The higher the monkey climb, the more we will expose. I said no, 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 no speech, no language where the voice is not heard. Not one single word. I said no speech, no language.
Yes, Rastafari. It's a long, long way now, but I still love and I praise His Majesty. It's a long, long way now, but I still love and I praise His Majesty. I must have Jah with me, for I did not try alone. I must always have Him near me. He's my king and He sits on my throne. It's a long, long way now, but I still love and I praise His Majesty. It's a long, long way now, but I still love and I praise His Majesty. He's the light that shines before me when I try to the enemy. When they gather all to fight me, Lord, you give me the victory. It's a long, long way now, but I still love and I praise His Majesty. It's a long, long way now, but I still love and I praise His Majesty. Long, long way, long, long way, long way, long way, long way. When they
Now this is the time to watch all your flex. Don't let your works be dirty and meaningless. Rastaman, sing your song.
There'll be hope for the hopeless, but no mercy for the merciless.
Hold on, hold on.
Home for the homeless, but no shelter for the ones who transgress.
Lord of mercy, yes.
Let your work be fruitful, don't let it be meaningless.
Yes.
I'm talking to my people out of east and west. I hold them flex. Although you can't do everything good, try to do your best.
Try to do your best.
I hold them flex. Cause there'll be a place of shelter for all weary head to rest. Cause there'll be hope for the hopeless, but no mercy for the merciless.
Hold on, hold on.
Hope for the homeless, but no shelter for the ones that transgress. I hold them flex.
Now beg you teach them cocotti, I beg you tell them what I want. Sing your song Rastaman because I want you come to one. Teach them President Brown, I beg you tell them what I want. Chant the reggae music back when man nice up the land. Hey, nobody gone like you know sister revelation time. Rumors of a war and wonders and signs. All who know see like a bad them blind. If you follow back me wrong, I'm a continue to climb.
For the homeless, but no mercy for the merciless. Hold them flex. Home for the homeless, but no shelter for the ones who transgress. Hold them flex. People take heed, listen to what I say. Hey.
You better take heed.
It's not the time to fight, but the time to pray.
One.
Can't you see that your time is near? Rumors of war happening everywhere. Every day, go down on your knees and pray, Lord. Ask God to lead the way.
Hold on. Now if you transgress, you are go get left behind. Stay mentally fit and physically in line. Seek the Almighty and Him you shall find. Make sure you no flexing and no filthiness. You cannot be perfect, but try to do your best. You better focus in the right direction. Don't track the road of destruction. There is good, there is bad, there is right, there is wrong. No matter race, class, nor complexion. Show me the symbol of the lion of the chant Rasta song. If you don't have no mercy, go beyond to the one. Put this in your song.
There'll be hope for the hopeless, but not.
Yeah.
Never knew that the time would come when every man's got to find where he does come from. Never knew that the time would come when every pig must find its big tree. Jump, little pigs, into your trees and say you are free. Say you are free. Say you are free. I've been rebuked and I've been scorned, rejected of men. Now I'm born to live in you. So won't you two, my loved ones, drink new wine with me? Let's live in love, in peace and harmony, and say we are free. Say we are free. Say we are free. In my big tree, there I wanna be, so safe and free. In my big tree, there I long to be, from all misery. In my big tree, there I wanna be, so safe and free. In my big tree, there I long to be, from all misery. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I got tired to see my face. Can't get me out of the race. Oh man, you said I'm in your place, and then you draw back yard. I make you draw back yard, and then you draw back yard. Propaganda spreading over my name. Say you
They're passing the basket through the crowd, and I think everybody standing here should put $1 in that basket. Don't you think you should? Sure, these are freedom dollars, brother. We're not asking you to give us some money to make us rich. We put up businesses. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has set up more businesses than any black man in America. He's not trying to build churches, he's trying to build businesses. Because businesses make jobs for you, and churches don't make jobs for anybody but preachers. Throughout America, only on a modern scale, you have a house Negro and a field Negro. That Negro big shot, the upper class Negro, the middle class Negro, in every city, that black bourgeoisie, they aren't oppressed like you and I are. Before the Emancipation Proclamation, they lived in the white man's house. Go to the Waldorf Astoria. Go downtown to where the white people are, and you'll find the house Negro. Go to these integrated parties, you'll find the house Negro. Go to the integrated schools and colleges, you'll find the house Negro. Go where the Uncle Toms are, and you'll find the house Negro. Go where the Negro leaders are, and you'll find the
for them to get a fair trial, there would be no necessity for a trial at all. These are the victims of police bullets, and you don't take the victim in court as a criminal. You take the one who shot the victim in court, and it is the police who should be on trial here in Los Angeles.
Well, if you think you can't get a fair trial here, why don't you ask for a change of venue?
I don't know why the lawyers haven't sought any change of venue, but I would say that actually what is on trial is the Los Angeles court system. Los Angeles is on trial. We don't feel that we are.
The country is watching this trial very closely?
Well, the press, again, has put forth a great deal of effort to contain the press coverage. Outside of Los Angeles, most people in this country don't know the trial is taking place.
Malcolm X, what do you think of Cash's victory in Miami?
I think it was a great victory. He proved he was the best man.
Where were you during the fight?
I was in the auditorium watching the fight.
Right at ringside?
Right at ringside. I was in seat 7.
And do you think that Cassius, as being a black Muslim, has had anything to do with this victory?
Well, I haven't heard him say he was a black Muslim. I have heard him say that he believes in the religion of Islam, which makes him a Muslim. And it did have a great deal to do with his victory because he's a clean, living young man. And this is the main thing that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad does teach in spreading the religion of Islam throughout among our people in this country.
Mr. X, how long has Cassius been a black Muslim? Do you know that?
Well, I don't know. Cassius is probably more capable of speaking for himself than any other man in this country.
You find a Negro getting drunk, he doesn't know the truth. You find a Negro taking dope, he doesn't know the truth. You find a Negro lying and cheating, he doesn't know the truth. He's usually imitating the white man. Negroes get drunk because they see white people get drunk. They smoke cigarettes because they see white people smoke cigarettes. They commit fornication and adultery because when they turn on the television, all they see is the white man committing fornication and adultery. And they want to be like the white man, so they copy his immoral social habits. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad comes along and teaches black people the glory of black. And instead of the black man trying to imitate the white man, he tries to imitate God. He tries to be himself. He tries to display high moral qualities rather than the low.
Mr. Farmer, what's your opinion of the statement by Malcolm X that he was leaving the black Muslims?
Well, I think that Malcolm has left a number of unanswered questions which need to be answered. First of all, what are his plans? Does he intend to build an organization? If so, what kind of organization? Pro-integration or pro-separation? And in either case, what is the program going to be? He speaks of self-defense, but self-defense is not a program. It's merely a response to violence. And what does he mean by self-defense? Is it self-defense on campaigns, on projects, on demonstrations, if attacked? Or is it self-defense in the event somebody attacks one's home or attacks you individually when you were walking down the street, not involved in a project? I think we require answers to those questions.
In his announcement, Malcolm spoke of the failure of the Negro Revolution. Do you agree with that?
Oh, of course not. I think the successes of the revolution speak for themselves. Within the past 3 years, the amount of progress that has been made in wiping out segregation and racial discrimination is enormous. Now, he says that it's been a failure. Maybe he means that it's been a failure in terms of separationism. It certainly has not been a failure in terms of integrationism.
Malcolm X, why are you leaving the Nation of Islam, usually referred to as the Black Muslim movement?
I'm glad you said usually referred to as police brutality and other ills that afflict the Negro community. But we won't be joining them, nor will they be joining us, but we will work together on any objective that we have in common, and that will be for the common good of the Negro community.
I believe that Mr. Muhammad and the Muslims have not done that in the past. Is that so?
Well, only because many of the so-called civil rights groups have been afraid. And in some cases, we ourselves haven't been as flexible as we could be. But things are shaping up now where if something isn't done to get some kind of unity among the groups, no matter what differences they have, things can get mighty bad.
You have spoken of Negro discontent with the progress of civil rights. What do you think about that?
Yes, black people in this country are completely dissatisfied, disillusioned, and disenchanted with the entire civil rights movement.
You suggest that Negroes vote for in the coming election?
I wouldn't suggest that they vote for any party or either party. I would suggest that the so-called Negroes become politically mature, realize the power that they hold in the field of politics, and then once the person who is running is aware that this man is awakened to the power that he holds, then that person who is running will approach that Negro on a more intelligent plane. As it is right now, most of the Negro leaders sell out to the white politicians for crumbs. And an awakening, a political awakening among Negroes will make it impossible for the present Negro leaders to sell our people out as they've been doing in the past.
So you do think Negroes should vote?
Negroes should do whatever is necessary to bring about a complete solution to their problem. When I say whatever is necessary, whatever is necessary. They should have the flexibility to do whatever is necessary to solve the problem.
What is your answer to it now? Is it still separatism, a separate nation of your own in this country or in Africa?
Mr. Muhammad has said that if the problems can't be solved here, and by us being incorporated right into the mainstream of things, our people should be allowed to go back home to Africa. And if the government doesn't want us to go back home to Africa, he then says that some separate territory should be set aside in this country.
Do you think that there would be room in Africa for American Negroes? What will be the difference between your new movement and the Nation of Islam?
Well, the basic difference will be it'll probably be more flexible, and it's not my intention to teach among Muslims or those who are already Muslims, but to take Mr. Muhammad's message out among the non-Muslim so-called Negroes.
Well, you will work then with Negro groups that are working for integration?
Not work with them, but any of the Negro integrationist groups who have an objective in common with us, we can cooperate with them in that particular objective.
Do you believe that Negroes should continue in the nonviolent methods that they have been using?
Its analysis is that until the image of the black man and the mind of the black man has been changed, you will always have delinquency, parental as well as juvenile. So his entire approach is not so much to change the attitude of the white man toward the black man, but to change the attitude of the black man about himself. And change it in what direction?
Change it
what
in
should the attitude? Well, a feeling or a sense of inferiority has been created by the white power structure, educational and otherwise, in the mind of the black man about himself. And Mr. Muhammad's entire approach is to restore to the black man a knowledge of himself, a knowledge of his people, his cultural roots. And by doing this, this restores his racial identity, his racial dignity, his confidence as a race, racial confidence in his own kind. And when he gets this self-confidence, he's then able to stop blaming and begging the white man, and is then able to stand on his own feet. The Catholic president, who himself was discriminated against for a long time and accused Protestants of practicing religious discrimination, I think that he is way out of line to use his position now as the first Catholic president to open up his mouth against a religious group here in this country that is headed by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If he's not going to open up his mouth and outright condemn the Citizens Council by name, and condemn the Ku Klux Klan by name, and condemn the white Masonic order, which is all white, by name, and the white churches in the South by name, then Kennedy is wrong to point at the Muslims because we are black and because we don't want to mix with the people down there. And I should say that when we express our desire not to mix with whites, they call us a hate group. And Martin Luther King is running around here telling Negroes to love all kind of white people, and they sick dogs on Martin Luther King. So it answers itself and shows the hypocrisy of the white man.
What brought you to the Parliament tonight?
I came to the rally held by Brother Malcolm tonight. I was invited. I was very happy to come. I've been very pleased with the new approach that's being used here, and I certainly endorse it. I think it will add a new life to the civil rights movement as a whole. I think Brother Malcolm has offered his support in any way to any of our goals, and I think that the two areas can be mutually beneficial.
Do you subscribe at all to separatism yourself?
I don't think, as right now, I don't subscribe to separatism myself. But I think under the new political organization that he intends to set up, that there was no hint of this at the time. I certainly believe that a black organization should be set up under black leadership. It should be open to everyone. But I think the leadership is going to have to remain in the hands of the Negroes. We're going to have to learn how to do these things ourselves and make our own mistakes without advice from anyone white at all.
Your trip today was in the interests of building a political party?
Yes, I think the seeds of it will start here.
On politics, what do you think of the votes Governor Wallace got in Wisconsin?
I'm not surprised. I think a lot of people possibly were surprised in Wisconsin, but I was quite sure that Governor Wallace, and being allowed to go across the United States, would solidify the borderline vote and the segregationist vote much more than, let's say, Washington would like to admit.
think it meant, the votes that he got?
I think that possibly this is indicative all across the country of a segment of votes that are like this. If this were not true, it would not, Congress would not have to pass a civil rights bill, would not have to even put it into effect. They could implement the Constitution.
Do you think Negroes could form a political party which could counteract a hardcore?
I think so, because I think the way the economic and political structure of America is set up, that if we solidify a Negro vote across the country, and that we can negotiate with this vote in connection with other block votes, farm votes, labor votes, where our interests are in conjunction with other areas. I certainly think this is going to have to be done.
How do you plan a second trip to Africa?
Well, Senator Paul Douglas of Illinois told me that the Africans weren't interested in the American so-called Negroes, so I'm going to make a three-week trip into Africa to find out how our people over there feel about us. Actually, I already know how they feel about us.
How do they feel?
Well, they realize that we're their brothers, and I think that they realize that we realize that we're their brothers.
Will you actively seek support in some way from them? Expressions of support?
Well, I think that the Africans have already expressed support of the black people in this country, and the more they know about our problem, the more they are inclined toward supporting us.
Do you think this could have any adverse effect on American diplomacy in Africa?
I don't see why it should. I certainly wouldn't say anything in Africa that's not true. If telling the truth would affect American diplomacy, then America has some very bad situations existing here.
When will you go?
Well, at this time, I'd rather not say, but I intend to be over there within the next couple of weeks.
You also mentioned tonight the demonstration Corps plans in Brooklyn, planned by Brooklyn Corps, to tie up the traffic around the World's Fair. Do you feel that's a good demonstration?
Well, I just finished making my statement that I'm not against anything that anybody does.
Are you actively asking them to go out in their cars and try to...
I repeat that I'm not against anything that anybody does to bring the spotlight of the world upon the human rights violation of 22 million African Americans in this country. And I can think of nothing that would spotlight it better than if it became impossible for...
I think the World's Fair demonstration might prove.
Well, I can think that nothing would bring the spotlight of the world or the attention of the world upon the human rights violations of the 22 million African Americans more so than tying up traffic that will make it impossible for the fair to open up.
Something that will get worldwide publicity.
It'll bring worldwide attention to the fact that America is guilty of violating the human rights of 22 million African Americans.
Another subject, what do you think the meaning is of the 250,000 votes that Governor Wallace got in Wisconsin?
The 250,000 votes that Governor Wallace got in Wisconsin shows that white people in Wisconsin are no different from white people in Alabama.
All white people, or 250,000?
Well, there were 250,000 who were not afraid to go on record. And there were many more, there were probably millions of them who thought the same way that Wallace thinks, but who didn't feel that they should bring their thinking out at this time.
Would that make you think that a Negro political party can't win? It's hopeless?
I don't know what you mean by a Negro political party.
Are you not forming one?
We are. Our social and economic and political philosophy is black nationalism. We spread the philosophy of black nationalism, and once it wakes black people up, they'll know what to form in order to bring about some justice in this country for themselves.
You think you might be able to?
Mr. James, what about this charge by Mr. Amir that Malcolm X has been marked for death by his former associates?
These charges are false. The Muslims have excommunicated Malcolm X, and we're done with him, unless he wants to come back into line with the teachings and the moral principles of Islam and a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Then he is not marked for death?
No, he's not. That's hearsay, and we believe that Malcolm is using that because that's his best way of keeping himself before the public and making himself newsworthy.
And what is your policy toward him? No violence? Nothing like that?
No, there is no violence against him. It is Malcolm's statement, according to the New York Times, that he intends to bring about the character assassination of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad,
and try to blackguard the Muslim movement as a whole. But he's the first man that we've had to try to go against the man that have benefited him and have brought him into the light of the world.
What is your opinion of him? Do you feel that he has hurt the black Muslim movement?
I do not. Since Malcolm has been out of the movement, we have a better spiritual working relationship among the Muslims in general, and the accusation that he's bringing against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we're gaining more converts out of it than we have ever have at any time.
What about the defection that was publicized today of Elijah Muhammad's son, Abkar? Why did he leave the movement?
I believe you mean Akbar.
Right. I'll ask the question again. It sounds stupid. Akbar, I'm sorry. What about the defection of Malcolm X? Start again. What of the? It was reported today that Akbar, the son of Elijah Muhammad, had defected because he disagreed with his father's philosophy, he said, and thought the ideas were concocted. How about that?
I believe that Akbar is a victim of circumstances because he's about 25 years old. He was born in Islam. He was raised and protected by his father, who have sent him to greater heights in the educational world than he himself had gone. I believe that he should study more carefully the work of his father, because his father is an historian, a reformer. He is also a statesman and, by the same token, a religious leader as well.
There's a general feeling among the white population in this country that the black Muslims are dedicated to violence, that they're a movement aimed at hurting whites. Is this true?
Well, I would say you could look at the history of the 33 years labor of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and you will find that it has been concentrated on elevating morally and dignifying the so-called Negro masses and trying to effect a unity where the so-called Negro can do something for himself instead of lying at someone else's gate begging them. We have no record at any time where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has called upon violence against the white race.
What is the ultimate solution?
The ultimate solution to this race issue, I presume, that you mean,
yes,
is as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad have said, it is separation or death. And on the Negro's part, he's receiving much death now throughout the South. His churches are being bombed, his homes are bombed, his children murdered, his leaders sniped and shot in the back, and nobody has gone to justice for him, which testifies that Mr. Muhammad's solution is the right and proper one that would be best for everyone concerned.
And these reports that Malcolm X has been marked for death, you say are spread by Malcolm X himself?
That is his source of propaganda to stay in the press. He have no other means of reaching the press. He doesn't have a program. He's trying to reduplicate something that has been tried over the years by other so-called Negro leaders. And since it's not newsworthy, then the only thing that brings the press running is the fact that he is giving out this hearsay information that he's branded for death. I'm certain that if he was branded for death, why he would have gotten death long ago instead of having time to run around and talk about it. But all of this is just hearsay. And he knows that he is guilty of things that many men have been chastised for. So his fight against the messenger is in fact a fight against the God that sent the messenger. I believe our law is sufficient.
The messenger is Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, that's right.
Would you say that Elijah Muhammad, in preaching separation or death, is preaching a doctrine of love or a doctrine of hate?
I would say that his work is calculated to teaching self-knowledge to the so-called American Negro. Now, what the American Negro needs to be taught, no other people on earth is suffering in his condition. And therefore, his work is unique to the type of people that he's trying to teach. And he is doing a job that have previously been called impossible. But the nearer the Honorable Elijah Muhammad comes to success in uniting the so-called Negroes, cleaning them up, then many of the others are becoming insane with jealousy and envy for the power that he appears to have. And therefore, they're ready to use any means to blackguard the man that has benefited the so-called American Negro more than any man that has ever been among us.
You feel that Malcolm X is one of these people that's becoming insane with jealousy?
I feel he's the chief hypocrite that is spreading malice into the hearts of whosoever will spend a few minutes to listen to him. Malcolm X at the present time is living on Muslim property. We took care of him. We fed him. We supported his whole family. And then he rewards the messenger for all of this good by running all over the world, even overseas, trying to make things look bad for a man whose work speaks for itself. You can touch all the followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They are gainful at work. They are at peace. They are taking care of their families. And they are taking a bath. They are welcome in any society. Now, that is if they would like to go into any society, because they know themselves and they know other people. So they know how to not be lying around begging for that which they have not earned.
I think you describe your own feelings toward Malcolm X now as feelings of hatred or what?
My feelings towards Malcolm X is in tune with the teachings of the religion of Islam. I have known many men that were failed because of being morally weak, and on the other side of not being morally weak, who had a lust for power and fame that have defected out of the nation of Islam. But when they leave the nation of Islam, our communication with them is gone, and we are done with them. The only difference with Malcolm is that he has made it a point in trying to attack the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and to defame the man's work. But there are thousands of people that have been in and out of Islam, and they was happy over the benefit of knowledge and understanding that they received when they was there, and some of them have gone out to try to start businesses or work out some other game for life. But Malcolm is so insane with envy and a lust for power, a lust for television and the press, until he will do anything to get himself out in the open. And therefore he thinks the best way to do that is attack Muhammad or pretend that the Muslims are attacking him. I don't think he's that significant.
The problem of the black people in America is inseparable from the problem of oppressed people all over the world. And until the leaders of black America realize that our problem is inseparable from the entire international problem, we will be considered a minority, will be considered an underdog, and will be begging for the things that we should have had when we were born. And we still won't have them.
What would these guerrillas do once they were in these states?
Well, one of the things that they could do, they could see that the federal government had to intervene. Since Jim Foreman and others there have not been able to get government intervention with peaceful methods, we feel that we can send in enough brothers into that area to carry on a campaign of terror against the Ku Klux Klan to the point where the government would have to intervene itself and occupy the state of Mississippi. How can you advocate violence in an area where 3 men have disappeared who were doing nothing but trying to show our people how to register to vote? This is the violence is already there. We are going there to put down the violence. Since the government isn't able to stop the violence that's being committed against Negroes, we feel that it is necessary to put a halt to this violence ourselves. And Lyndon B. Johnson just stated this week that this government would go to war to protect the peace that this government wants. And we feel that our people have reached the point wherein we can see that we're going to have to go to war against the racists in this country and make war against them ourselves in order to preserve our own peace and in order to preserve our own lives and our own property. And this is not advocating any kind of violence. This is being prepared to retaliate against those who are violent with us. And we think that this is the only language that the Ku Klux Klan and the White Citizens Council and the George Lincoln Rockwells and these other racists and extremists understand. It's not advocating violence. Our people there are already the victims of violence and have been the victims of brutal violence on the part of the Klan. We're advocating self-defense units and self-defense units alone.
Who are the victims of this guerrilla army bid?
Only the racists, only the people who are inflicting criminal assault upon the lives and the property of our people in that area.
What do you think of the killing of Malcolm X?
I think it was terrible. It was a tragedy.
How did it affect you?
Well, it didn't really affect me, not in the sense that I'm a follower, but it did affect me as a person, you know.
Do you think his death will hurt or hinder or help the Negro cause in general?
I think it will help eventually.
Why is that?
Well, I don't know. It's just something that will happen because they always say that it takes violence to get what you're trying to succeed in doing, and I think it will help in the long run.
Did you agree with Malcolm's philosophy?
Some things.
What in particular?
Well, just certain ideas he had, certain things he said that I went along with, and I think everyone at one time or another have gone along with some things he said or done.
What in particular?
Well, I don't know any particular things, but just what I've heard and read, certain things I've gone along with.
Thank you very much. What is your reaction to Malcolm's killing?
I felt he shouldn't have been killed.
Why is that?
Because he had his own philosophy and he was entitled to it.
Did you agree in any part with his philosophy?
Up to a certain point.
What point was that, sir?
Where every man, the colored man, should protect himself.
In what other ways?
That's about the only way that I liked him.
Did you ever think of joining his cause?
No.
Why not?
Still, I thought it was out too far out.
Yet you do believe that the colored man should protect himself.
I do.
Do you think ultimately that the killing of Malcolm will help or hurt the Negro cause?
Well, that's hard to say.
What's your opinion?
Well, I think it might help. It might pull the groups together. Maybe one day, sooner or later.
That the groups might become...
That's right. They might become amalgamated, together.
Because of this.
That's right.
Thank you very much. Sir, what is your reaction to Malcolm's killing?
Very sorry to hear of his death. It's a tragedy, and as a result, it served no purpose whatsoever.
Do you believe that this will help ultimately or hinder the Negro cause?
Well, it has served a purpose. He has served a purpose.
What purpose is that?
Well, it created a feeling that, and it showed the world that the injustice that had been placed upon the Negroes.
You felt that Malcolm had done this?
Yeah, but I don't think he did anything to solve the problem.
Do you think he made the problem greater?
Possibly so.
Did you follow his philosophy?
No, I didn't.
Why was that?
What's that?
Why was that? Why didn't you follow his philosophy?
Well, I didn't believe in his philosophy. I believe in the method that Luther Martin King pursued.
So you feel overall that while it is a tragedy, it may in the end help the Negro to attain its goals?
No, I don't think it obtained. I think it stirred up a sentiment that had been thrust upon us. But I don't think he did anything to solve the problem.
How do you feel about Malcolm's killing?
I feel that it will touch off a war here in New York City between the black Muslims and Elijah Muhammad.
Do you have any other feelings on it?
Well, I feel that it will hurt the Negro cause.
In what way?
With this bloodshed being spilled now, especially when the Negroes need more help, more understanding from the white people, and the war that may take place, I feel certain that it will hurt the Negro cause.
Well, what did you think of Malcolm's philosophy personally?
Well, I didn't agree with his philosophy, although I thought a lot of his character. I thought he was a very brilliant man. I happened to have the opportunity to listen to him one night on an all-night radio show, and what he said, I believe that he believed, you see. So he was fighting for his belief, which is...
What you respect that?
Yes, very much.
Thank you. How do you feel about the killing of Malcolm X?
I was deeply shocked. I didn't believe that things like that still went on in America. Another assassination like Kennedy's.
Do you consider it another assassination like Kennedy's to be equal?
Not exactly equal, but close to it.
You just didn't think things like this could happen in this country. What do you think this might possibly lead to?
Well, I believe there's a good chance of a future bloodletting like this one between the two factions of black Muslims, between the Malcolm X's and the other ones.
What did you think of his philosophy?
I really don't know. I didn't understand that much of it.
Did you ever hear him speak?
No, I did not.
Yet it did shock you when you heard of his killing.
But just the fact that he was shot down in broad daylight in the theater like he was, just that, it was shocking.
How do you feel about the killing of Malcolm X?
Well, I was quite shocked about it. I don't think it's quite the American way to go about things like this by killing people. I think it can be settled otherwise.
What do you think this might lead to among Negro factions?
Well, I think they're going to have some trouble up in Harlem and throughout the United States. I think there's going to be a lot of propaganda, both here in the United States and out in the other countries.
What did you think of his philosophy?
Well, I didn't agree with it, but that still, it's his way, it's the American way. He can say what he wants.
Thank you. What do you think of the killing of Malcolm X?
Killing of Malcolm X in this country, I think, was ridiculous. Because the program that he was carrying out, I think it was a wonderful program.
Did you agree with his philosophy?
Yes, I did. In many ways I did, in many ways I did not.
What were the ways you did and did not?
Well, I didn't agree, when he preached hatred, but when he said that all man must come in together and be one, and when he went into Africa and Arab countries, all he wanted them to know that the American Negroes was human just like anyone else.
What do you think this killing might lead to among Negro factions?
But I have no comment on that.
Do you think that it will cause some ultimate bloodletting?
No comment on it.
Do you think that other people now are going to be seeking Malcolm's power and that the struggle between the black nationalists and the black Muslims will continue?
Yes, I think so. I think the program still will be carried out because, not just in America, I think Africa and Arab countries will most or less have something to say about this assassination of Malcolm X. Well, in the assassination of Malcolm X that taken place yesterday, Sunday afternoon, I think the Washington government, high officials had something to do with that.
Are you saying that politicians, government leaders in America, your opinion, had something to do with the killing of Malcolm X?
Yes, I think it was almost based on the same fact, assassination of President Kennedy.
What fact do you think that was based on?
Well, it was a planned job and there was money behind it.
Why would they want to get Malcolm X out of the way?
Well, my opinion, because after he went into Africa and dealt with the Arab countries, then came back into this country, they didn't know what the power could have been with him. And so they feel like, they should get him out of the way, because I feel like when he went to France and he was turned down, couldn't ground in France, so I think the United States wired ahead in order to keep him from being grounded in France to express his opinion. But for his French de Gaulle, Charles de Gaulle, I didn't think he had anything to do with it in France.
I heard shots, and I saw people crawling on the floor. And so I got down too. Then when I was looking out, and I saw someone look in amazement to the front, I knew they had shot my husband. And my children were crying, what's going on? What's going on? Are they going to shoot us?
This ghastly nightmare of violence and counter-violence is something that must be condemned by all people of goodwill in this nation. I don't think violence solves any social problem. It only creates new and more complicated problems. I think it is also necessary to say that the assassination of Malcolm X was an unfortunate tragedy. It reveals that there are still numerous people in our nation who have degenerated to the point of expressing dissent through murder, and we haven't learned to disagree without being violently disagreeable.
Do you all remember how the preachers preached in 1930? You don't have to put your age in the street, but you remember how they preached. They were ignorant, weren't they? They taught us that hell was someplace down in the ground. Imagine this. Just picture this. It's hard for you to believe it, isn't it? It's hard for you to believe that someone would be dumb enough back there to think that there was a hell in the ground with fire and a devil going to juke you with a fork when you go. You can't picture someone being dumb enough to believe like that, can you? Yes, you can. You believe this yourself. But this is the kind of picture that the preacher gave us of hell. A place that we would die and go to. And somebody with horns and a fork would jug us for the rest of our life after we was dead. Pick up on that. For the rest of our life after we were dead. Why, it don't even make sense. But we believed it. The fires never went out. And you and I had to tend the fire. We'd be shoveling coal all the time. And here the devil jugging us, shovel some more. Brother, how ignorant can you get? But this is the picture we had, and this is what we believed in. Then the same old dumb preacher taught us that heaven was the opposite. It was up in the sky. And what he said? Hell is down there, and heaven is up there. Nothing here now. Everything is there. Down there and up there. Heaven, he said, was when you die and go up there. You wear long white robes and slippers, golden slippers, and a golden crown. What else? Yeah, milk and honey. I know you know what he said. And this concept that the preacher had given had the minds of our people in bad shape. But Master Farad taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and thousands of black people in Detroit that ain't no hell up yonder, and no heaven up yonder, and no hell down yonder. There's no heaven up there, and no hell down there. Why, those black people were shook up. Oh yes, they were shook up, because they had paid a price. All their lifetime they had suffered to keep them suffering. Oh yeah, they had suffered at the hands of the white man and took it without fighting back, just so they could keep them having to suffer at the hands of the devil after they died. They had gone without everything. No clothes, no house, no nothing, no gold, no honey, no milk, no nothing. Just so they could get some up yonder after they died. And when they found out that they had gone through all this for so long, for nothing, I say they were shook up. Yeah, just like some of y'all shook up right now. Tell the truth. Some of y'all still believe that thing yesterday. In fact, some of y'all just come from church. Just a few moments ago, you was trying to make it in. Yeah. I heard you. I told it. You just a little while ago talking about yonder, over yonder, but up yonder. Your head is still in bad shape. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that Master Farad taught our people, taught him that heaven is a condition and hell is a condition. Right here. He said when you poor, that's hell. When you're hungry, that's hell. When you're dumb, that's hell. You know what hell is. When you don't have rights, that's hell. When you're a slave, that's hell. When you can't find a job because your skin is the wrong color, you're in hell. And the devil is the one giving you hell. He got blue eyes, blonde hair, white skin. You can't deny that. You'd like to deny it, but you can't deny it. Because you have caught hell from the white man. You can't deny it. You have caught hell from the white man. I know you'll jump up and say, well, I caught some hell from some Negroes too. That's because they was acting like the white man. Then now, if the federal government does not find it within its power and ability to investigate a criminal organization such as the Klan, then you and I are within our rights to wire Secretary General Uthar of the United Nations and charge the federal government in this country behind Lyndon B. Johnson with being derelict in its duty to protect the human rights of 22 million black people in this country. And in their failure to protect our human rights, they are violating the United Nations Charter, and they are not qualified to continue to sit in that international body and talk about what human rights should be done in other countries on this earth.
Mark my word, no, 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 no. They might fight them mothers, they might kill them brothers, some might fight them sisters, some might fight them fathers. Who they gonna fight when the right fight comes? Who they gonna fight when the right fight comes? Who they gonna fight when the right fight comes? Who they gonna fight when judgment comes? They might act like say all of them want come sell I but 30 pieces of silver.
Yes, so them say 30 pieces of silver for Judas. So we are say we're gone. Our first prayer bringing in Ramadan will be tomorrow night, and Ramadan feasibility starts on the 23rd, Thursday. So we start our fasting. O ye who believe, fasting is prescribed for you, as it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may become pious in remembrance of the Creator. Yeah. So this is for all Muslims, male and female, children as well. Yeah, so I'm saying guidance for that. After the 29 or 30 days, we will sight up and see what life has in store, because some of us will fall out, as in life, through this time here. You know, we fall out every day. You know what I mean? People that you see today, you may not see in the morning. You know what I mean? So we give thanks for everything. We give thanks for life. You know, it's most important. So our observation will be at the 29 days or 30 days. And alhamdulillah, the fast will begin at 4:17 and will end at 6:23 for the first 3 days. So that'd be like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then Sunday, we'll start at 5:11 and finish at 7:28. So we're not doing too bad. We will not be doing too bad, but alhamdulillah, the Muslims at work through the guidance of Muhammad, peace and blessing upon the Prophet of Al-Islam, and the directions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we hear, we obey to the best of our ability, and if we are not sick, we have to obey completely. Because if we are sick, then we make up, as a man, we make up those days, even with ladies, we make up those days after the fast, before the next Ramadan. So it's not like somebody say, yo, you have to do this, and if you don't do that, no. See? You have some people talk like that, them tell you, say, yeah, them people are too strict. If this don't, no. And we are charitable. So already a lot of, from this country and from my district, a lot of brothers and sisters have gone out into the world where there are people who are less privileged than ourselves, taking them finance, taking them water purification units, taking them clothes, all sort of things. And in some other places, different things for different folks, you know what I mean? So, Al-Islam. This year, our zakat would be £7 per person. We should make that declaration early so that elderlies and other peoples in our own surroundings, our own districts, communities and everything can be looked after, and we can assure them to have a good Eid. Yes, yeah, you know what I mean, and so forth. So Al-Islam is like 1000% charitable, seriously. But from the outside looking in, you can't learn Al-Islam. You can see Al-Islam. You can see Muslims, individual people, people doing their thing. And if you really look good, we come like ants. We come like ants, man. Just do what we do. You understand? Yeah, with obedience. It's just that a person want to know, why did they do that? And why did they do this? So for the Arabs now, go Africa, go Namibia, go Nubia, you understand? Go to Yemen, go Sudan, you see? Yeah, go Mauritania and all these places and see our great ancestors and everything. I slap them and say, yo, how come you had servants? How come you had maids and slaves and everything? And then when them tell you, say, listen, sometimes we beat up somebody and we take their booty and we take their people too. Yeah? Other times we don't take nobody. We just move into their territory. And you just think, like, God, blimey, is that what happened? Is that what we used to do? And they say, yeah. But you see, for us now today, with the development of language and words and dictionary, we say, boy, you lot was barbaric, But we never lived 2,000 years ago, and we never lived 1,500 years ago, right? We don't know that. So we can't even fathom, you see, right? That's not justifying anything, right? But when you take into account the slavery that we're talking about, and we're not talking about Turkish right now, the slavery that we're talking about, the one that we experienced, this is a different thing. You see? It's a different thing. So when someone come tell you now that the Arab slavery, the Arab teach the European, where him get that from? Teach them do what? So how did he have slaves and everything? The Arabs, we never teach them nothing. They never see nothing from us. The people that a lot of people are speaking of, and I will contest this one, are the Portuguese. The Portuguese was one of the first set of people that come into Africa and take things out of Africa. Not the first that landed in there, the ones that took things out, as in taking people. And their image, their dress wear and everything look like our sophisticated set of people. Yeah, they wear turban and long jelly and so forth, right? And the brand and the paintings that a lot of people are seeing, have been seeing, they're Portuguese. They're Portuguese. But if you read the life of the Prophet and you read the Prophet about the advent of Al-Islam and everything, you will see that he ordered many among him and many who were not among him, but he was in contact with, because now the Ummah of Al-Islam is growing. And he prohibited them, and he asked them to free peoples that they had in and among them. And our Bilal, who caused the Azan, was such. He's an Ethiopian, and he had family and everything. And he went to school. He's well educated. He was an accountant and all sorts of different things. A great deal of disciplines he had. And he was the closest to the Prophet ﷺ. Now, his owner at the time was a man named Odomaya, and he actually asked Bilal to spank somebody that was hearing the guidance of the Prophet. And Bilal refused. And on the third time they're asking him to do so, he dropped the whip, he threw the whip down on the floor. Now, Busafian and Odomar, they're saying, can you not now see what Muhammad's teaching is doing to the society? So they became very, very violent, very vicious, and instilled a lot of punishment on people who were listening to the Prophet. And Bilal, at the same time, was laid naked in the afternoon, with a stone, with a rock on top of his back or his chest. Because sometimes it was face down, other time it was face up. So the rock would be on his back or the rock would be on his stomach. And them had him spread eagle. See? Torture. And the sun is blazing. This is the treatment that was inflicted. Now, I mentioned the Turkish. The Turkish, them take us, they liked us for their gods. They like us to protect their women and everything. But them were afraid. They're afraid of the men. They're afraid of the men eloping with their women. So they castrated, they turned our men folks that they had in their custody into eunuchs. The Turkish. See? The Ottoman. Yeah, that's just the other day. It's not like, very powerful nation of people. Very powerful. Turkish. The Ottoman Empire. Now, that's not saying all of them, but they're known for it. They executed that. They took that out. You understand? Oh, yes. So there's a lot of history. A lot of history. What has that got to do with God now? Did God sanction that? That's a man in his rogueness behavior. But the Turkish, oh yes, they liked us. But they couldn't trust us. They had the vision of us with their women. And what generations could come out of that. So they say, wow, nah. So those men who had such decided they castrate the men. So they weren't able to produce. So this was the Turkish. And all the harems and all of these things and the guards for the big man them and families, they had Africans, black people, the Turkish. They had black people guarding over them, taking care of them, cooking for them, mining them, protecting them, everything. We understand, the Turkish. They didn't mind us learning, being educated and so forth. They didn't have that problem, that issue. The issue, the real concern they had was us breeding. Yes. And those people that the British put in Kemet treated us badly. So we have to ask England. Like I said, Elizabeth, a lot of things that we should have been asking Queen Elizabeth. Maybe some people did ask her, I don't know. But we didn't have that African audience with Queen Elizabeth to say, listen, this is what your ancestors allegedly did and everything. What are you saying? We didn't get that far. See? Not that somebody didn't run into Parliament and shout and ray, but I mean, civil times require civil minds and cordial understandings. See? So we didn't really do nothing. Are we going to do the same thing with Chad? Or are we going to wait for, what's her name, thinking that something would happen? No, we have to do things, accordingly. So God willing, inshallah, something will evidently happen, even if it's shouting and screaming. But Ramadan, why is it so important? It cleanses you. It stabilizes you. It detoxifies you. It spiritually charges all the batteries, all the systems in the body. It regulates what you're seeing, what you're hearing in this life. No matter what environment a person is in, Ramadan will do that for anyone. Not a black man, not a white man, any human being. See? The persons who decide to try and then do something, they're cheating themselves. And well, they would know it. You understand? Because there's some people that would say, yeah, we would try this, and at the same time, they're smoking. Hey! And then at the same time, they're drinking. And then at the same time, they might run down some woman, and it's not their women. Yeah? You understand? So the regulations are there, the do's and the don'ts. Al-Islam. And I'm telling people, don't cross up this one here with Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. Two different things. Two different things. The brothers them and the sisters them, they're protectors. You understand? But in terms of Al-Islam, that people will want to turn around and say that we are the Orthodox and they're the black supremacists. Yeah, they're right about that. But why turn it like that? Why not turn around and say, yo, Earworm, why you lot don't do the right thing? Fix up and fly right. You understand? That's it. Right? And then there's others that will tell you that we Orthodox, we are follow some Arabs. Right? It just keeps going round and round. So then you ask the general population of black people, what is it that we should be then? Come on, bring it on home. See? Because everything is being here already. So if someone's going to dismiss that one and dismiss this one, but the one that's supposed to be dismissed is this thing called Christianity. Trust me on that one. Seriously. And not just me, Do your own research. Not your mother, not your father, not your grandfather, not your grandmother. Do your own research and realized that they were captivated by the said thing that I'm talking about. You understand? And other wise men and women have talked about and will be talking about. See? That's it. That is it. Yeah? All those freedom fighters was trying to get the African American and the Caribbean people, get us free. They weren't running and say, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and he's the Lord and this and that. No, they weren't doing that. They weren't turning around and said, in the name of Jesus, that I'm free. Because the white man had did that and him a bust them head. So all you got to take his thing and shout it out and expect something to happen. Which thing's going to happen? And it hasn't happened. So people weren't thinking about Africa. Really? They were. The lessons that we got after that was that Africa not exists. See? And that's what we need to come to grips with. Our ancestors were thinking about Africa and going home. You understand? Are we that come and change the something? You see? And we didn't change it really. It was changed on us, you know, as in receiving that education. You understand? And then everything that was shown to us looked like a despicable place and everything. And then Tarzan and all these other images came along. You see? So by the time we reach up now in the 70s and 80s, and you start hearing and reading one and two things about Africa and so forth, they think like, wow. And sports and all sorts of other things was leading us. So we weren't so serious. You understand? We weren't so serious. And those people who could read fluently and everything, right, still weren't so serious. And then we do certain courses at university and we drop that in there, right? That one book about Muhammad Damfudio, that one book about Nigeria and the Fulanis and so forth. And yeah, and it just goes so. It went like that. Went like that. Unless, you know, we were saying Sheikh Shavara and so forth. But it went like that. You understand? So here we are again, you know, Al-Islam. See? And people must understand the Crusades, but yet still you see all those movies, right? So it's the white man again, and you feel that, and then him telling you about Jerusalem, and you think like, wait a minute, what the hell is he doing there? But then did you know where Jerusalem is, and everything? What does it stand for? What was happening? Who are the people that was there? What were they doing? You understand? What do they represent? So here I go again. I said, how is it that we give up the Lion of Judah for King James? Yeah. Now, in Ethiopia, you have Menelik, you have David and Solomon. You have the Yemenis, and you had the Queen of Sheba and Bashir and everybody, right? So this is African stories. This is African liberty. You understand? So now we have the world healing in our parents' and grandparents' lifetime, healing to the Lion of Judah, the crowning, the coronation of the Lion of Judah, the kings of kings, and so forth. The conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. Judah, you know, ooh, right? Coming from the ancestries of Jacob, Jacob, who was called Israel. Israel is not a landmass. It's not a country. Okay, so now we have given that up, and that's come in our time that we heard it and so forth, and our grandparents and parents saw it. But we give that up for King James. Hallelujah, the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ died for us and everything. And look how stupid we are. Him supposed to die for sin, and we have sin. So what happened? What happened, they tell you, is that since you still have sin, you've got to understand that he left us with grace. And then when you overcome that one, them tell you that the Holy Spirit will come and anoint you. And then they don't tell you how that does happen. How does the Holy Spirit reach you? How do you identify with that one? Right? And it goes on in the swings and roundabouts. So then you have the Trinity, and you have to think, what are they telling you? And there's 3 in 1, 1 in 3, and then they turn around and tell you that it's the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And who is this? This person that they call Jesus is supposed to be all of these things wrap up, as well as God. Yeah, but yet still God was grabbed, humiliated, and then nailed to a cross. And then God says to God, Father, why dost thou forsake thee? Hey! And you think like, hold on a minute. And then they tell you can't say that, shush. Huh? So then you don't talk. You don't talk. And that thing is bugging you from the day that you heard it till now. So then what happened? You don't do nothing about it. And that condition and circumstances remain the same. And then you remain the same because you never really did anything about it because someone shush you up. Huh? Tell you that you're blaspheming or you're this and you're that, and then you start feeling scared because somehow they make you feel that you're going against God, and you would not dare express your thoughts or ask for some clarity. See? Well, I wasn't one of those children. I didn't ask. I went to find. From the time I come in here, I went to libraries. When I find out where libraries are and all that, I located them and I go there. After that, I find the British Library. After that, I find Cambridge Library. After that, I find Oxford Library. And I've never stopped. You see? That's it. Busy, busy. Because that thing, that spiritual thing, that God thing, was important to me. As well as it been important to all of us. But we shelf it. We shelf it. We shelf it playing cricket. We shelf it playing music. We shelf it playing football or trying to play football, and then we decide to be football supporters and don't play. You understand? But I played cricket. Then I give it up. You know what I mean? I did not give it up. I didn't have that marginal influence anymore, right? I took up basketball and I was good at that, very good at that. Oh, cricket I can bat. I could have bat, right? But I did the basketball. I was really good at that. You have a lot of expression, self-expression and everything. I was good at that. I had family. They're still there in Alabama that play basketball and everything. And I love to talk to them about basketball, crying and waiting to have an opportunity to challenge them and so forth. Then I saw that just like I saw cricket. You know what I mean? Exploitation of black people. So the thing that caught me with that is that you can reinvent that because it's an art form. And that's what kept me in that, because I utilize my mind and create all sorts of different opportunities for different people that me and them become friends. And then we have a 2-on-2, 3-on-3 and things like that. And then little more, me and my wife set teams up, and because we like the way of training people and setting up systems and all of that. So, yeah, so it's fantastic, you know what I mean? And then by the time now we get exposed to the real deal with the African American and everything, they were doing just that. So where white people are trying to make we seem like we're insignificant and we don't have strategy and we don't have an education, I realize he's a liar. See? Because the black man who was playing that thing, he had such a structure, but he'd done it so quick, smooth, and he had rhythm and so forth. You know what I mean? The white man just going like he's in church and so forth, right? And they alienated us. But then they incorporated us and helped us to get rid of our own thing. And then we flourish their thing for them, and they're multi-billionaires while we're just there. See? And it stayed like that ever since. Now, I know that if I was in America that time and even now, they would have killed me unless they just drop me in a jail and don't let me out. You understand? Because I would have had a lot to say about that. You know what I mean? Because you could have seen that from far. And the thing that belonged to you, they wouldn't even allow you to give birth to it even now, right? Which was the ABA. You know what I mean? So all the different madness, right? And at the same time, they're the same people that is trying to get black people to accept this Jesus Christ thing. They worked hard to do that. Now you can go around England and see that the majority of churches around the communities are about the place is closed. And those that are open because the building is being transformed into a mosque, are not some Africans that just turn up here in the 80s and 90s, have just gone and got the cobwebs out, and they're doing their thing. You understand? So we got a whole heap of apologists at the same time. I don't know no African that come here and bring something that's exclusive. Not that they should, but you understand? I mean, the Czechs, then the Polish, all these other Europeans bring their thing with them, right? And, you know, as much as they're in England, they're still at home, innit? You understand? So so Ramadan, Al-Islam, beautiful. See? The other restriction with Al-Islam for a lot of people is that you can't just bounce on a woman. No, you can't. See? So for man them that, you know, want his appetite fulfilled, and find there's a problem there. And then they will use terms that these people that dictate, man, there's no freedom because them can't get the way that they want. That's it. You understand? That is it. See? Somebody's saying, but you said this. No, Rasta always had their own identity. Then Rasta come now and mix themselves up in Christianity, what is called Christianity, and the Bible. See? Now Rasta have to keep trying to validate themselves. See? Next thing you know, Rasta have a whole heap of houses, get on like the Protestant, the Pentecostal, this, that, and the other, and so forth. Right? And it just keeps going. But then you have some smart-ass Rasta then turn around and say that, you know, Islam is this and Muslims are that and rare and tear. Right? But when they want them bank account in excess of, them go Africa and then come among Muslims. Okay? You know, hypocrites. Yeah. Come, I'm going.
The living is rough, the going gets tough. Down here in Babylon, they hide the truth away from the youth.
And you see with Islam, you have to prepare to walk 1,000 miles. You understand? Seriously. There's no shortcut. You have to be prepared. See? A man have to turn and say, yo, what? You deal with Steve Chase said, no. We're dealing with marathon. But this is not a white man marathon. This is an African marathon. And him say, right, it. Enough for me that. See? And this is the issue with people. You understand? They want something just like so. And if it don't work that way, it's no good. See? Now, why I'm saying that Islam is trapped up with not an ideology, you know, a humane discipline. See? Within Al-Islam, there are cultures. We're not talking about the ethnics, but within Al-Islam itself, the duty as a Muslim is culturally based. So then you have to incorporate that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us and our ethnic culture as well. See? And within our ethnic culture, there's some things there that needs to be removed, ignored, and there's some things that is okay. There's some people that can't take that. Can't take that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The living is rough.
My mother helped me look after 3 women. 3. You understand? I'm telling you. Not loving them, taking care of them individually, equally, to the best of my ability. I tell you, see, I saw me live.
Down here in Babylon, they hide the truth away from the youth. Down here in Babylon, brothers killing brothers just for fun. People working hard in the burning sun. I still feel the chains around my feet and the cry of poverty from people that we meet. Tribal war won't solve the problem.
Would never. See, when we did tribal visual, we exercise ourselves proper.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The living is rough, the going is tough. Down here in Babylon, they hide the truth away from the youth. Down here in Babylon, brothers killing brothers just for fun. People working hard in the burning sun. I still feel the chains around my feet and the cry of poverty from people that we meet. Tribal war won't solve the problem. Let your hands and hearts be pure and clean. If you want to enter in the promised land, to rally round the red, gold and green, yeah. Wicked will run where judgment will come. Down here in Babylon, the righteous will stand upright in the land. Down here in Babylon, oh yeah. Ooh.
Yes, Marcia. You're my angel. Come. Come. Augustus, blah, blah. Guidance. That's the young Augustus Pablo. See? Yeah. Young. Think I live with a broken heart. So this is for the international people, you know. You see? Be thankful for what you got. Because I bet you believe me. What you think you have, you don't have. Oh.
Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac, then it's the white ball.
I love walking in. Let them teardrops dry, man. I tell you. Seriously.
Miss your water till your well runs dry, till your well runs dry again. He never miss your water till your well runs dry, till your well runs dry again. So let your teardrops fall, let them fall. Let them crumble down to the ground. You used to take me for a little boy.
Yeah, man. Use me. Yeah? Oh. Guidance. You know, 3 persons that haven't met and sort out our issues. See? And I hope tomorrow morning when my wife come now, we can all go to one of the embassies and go to West Hampstead and them place there and knock doors, you know, because it'd be the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do, and that's outstanding, you know. Ramadan, see? So I will continue to persevere in that, and even if my wife don't turn up, I might have to do a Uber, and hopefully we can find a Muslim on the Uber and go up a West Hampstead, Cricklewood and then place there and knock doors and try to make them things there operate. and Sunday, yeah, them say Mother's Day, and it's not something that me deal with, you know. See, because Mother's Day is every day. You see, but we pay homage to our mother. And pay homage to our grandmothers. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Okay. So, you know what I mean? They were given permission by the Almighty. You understand? And their wound was honored. That a person, if I understand, you know. I don't play when it comes to words. I'm telling you. Whether you like them or not. You see? Okay. So international. Take care of yourself. You see? Stop trying to control what you don't own. Oh, yeah. I'm still here. God willing. Yes, so we're gone, you know. And you're not going to hear it until Eid come. We are planning to open up the Skype, you know. Now we're trying to organize our features and everything. And people can come in and their opinion and billing and how to build and the first rounds and the agenda to project to infrastructure and African Caribbean infrastructure in the United Kingdom. Yeah, you know, and how to develop trust, you know. So we look at agendas and things like that. And we're going to open up, as I said, and people them can come in and bark, you know, but if you're not talking infrastructure and trust, then bother yourself. Don't bother yourself. Okay, we come talk about some sugarry over this and over this and everything. I'm not interested. I will not be interested. You see? Infrastructure and trust. Developing an infrastructure and trust. See? So that you can get around and bring about school, college, supermarket, banking system, you know? Yeah. It's not impossible. Everything is possible. You have to have a will and a desire and consistency. See? Main thing, you know? Will and a desire and consistency. See? And then we can move. At least a start can be derived. See? But I not try to say I control England. You know, a start can happen. See? And people will be proud of themselves, seriously. But we not do it for myself, you know. We do it for ourselves. You see it there? People have to understand them something, you know. It's not a one-man bandwagon that may advocate. See? People them dream. Yeah? So, me not dream for other people. I'm not dreaming. I'm a realist. Right? These things can happen. In my community and the people them that I'm involved with, such marvelous things have been done and are being done, you know, and so on. This is it. And this is Islamic. This is Islamic from the principles of doing things, trusting people, and being consistent and being honest. about whatever. You understand? So anybody that's come with something, them they're upon illusions. You understand? And on the outside looking in, they can't see. They don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? They can get a smell or whiff, but they don't know what's going on. See? I've sat down since I've been in my district with more than 10 million, maybe 12, maybe 14 million pounds. See? Building, restructuring, buying land, developing it, and so forth and so forth. You understand? Now, I would never tell a person that maybe but we don't spend time like that, thinking that maybe someone is shafted a few £100 or £1,000. But here what? The length of time that you take your faculties and deal with that, that means you're not trusting yourself, and that means that you're thinking that the people that you're working with or you're joining force with are thieves. So people, we don't have time for that. But if throughout the time and people that do their accounts and find that such and such, then you bring it to the attention of everybody. And everybody's everybody that's involved in the something. So then we all have to accept responsibility for misappropriated action, that whether we say Tom did it, Abdullah did it, Muhammad did it, such and such, we all gonna have to we have to accept responsibility for it. See? And maybe the main person is in that. Maybe no one is in it. It's just something that happened. You understand? I saw we deal with things. Because the worst thing to happen is people to mistrust one another. See? And bring the whole thing crumbling down. Like, when I'm clear, a stack of cars or dominoes. Nah. You don't see them things that are going on. You understand? We persevere. If they such, we persevere. But they haven't been. And not to say that things doesn't happen in other places and so on. You understand? But Allah and our souls reprimand us. I tell you. Some person feels so that them smart for a time, but they're not smart. Them foolish. Some people get excommunicated, you know. I tell you. Some people, them put them on curfew, them just lock them out. Huh? And them features, their names, everything is given to other communities, whether it's in Leicester, Birmingham, Manchester, wherever. You understand? That this person have the niche to as a criminal. Can't help themselves. You understand? So just leave them out. We have that power as Muslims in our communities. Where's the black man's power? Black man is probably go fight down with somebody and he's wrong. Maybe they're right, but the action, the course of action is wrong. And then they run and go tell the police. And then the police ask them what they want them to do. You understand? What evidence have you got? What proof have you got? And then you yourself finish up getting arrested by the same police that you get to arrest me. Because the police that ask, how you know so much of this something? So you must be privileged to such and such. See? So all of those things, and these are negatives. These are negative. These are the pessimists. We deal with optimism, but then with us, we deal with optimism and everything else, but we deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all of us equally fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wrath and his judgment. And we're following the guidance of the Prophet to be noble, to be sincere, to be truthful, to be al-amin and al-sadiq, you know what I mean? Trustworthy and being honest to the best of our abilities. What more can you do? See? So that's why you see in England and wherever Muslims are, that they have something going on. And with all the adversities that happened in this 9/11 and everything, why the black people not sit down and say, wait, rotted, them people that got disrespected full time. Big time star. How come them still there? Did they reinvent themselves? What did they do? And then they realized that they knew nothing. And I said, so how they overcome this something here? Continue to do what we're doing. See? So if we were the culprits and we were guilty, Muslims were guilty, then we should have disintegrated. We were not guilty. We were not guilty. And more Caucasians them run to Al-Islam than ever before during them times. And the majority were females. And that hurt America and England. See? And France. So much of the women have embraced Islam after 9/11 and thereafter. And all the attacks that them done in Iraq and Afghanistan. See? And all the publicity and everything that them put out there. And we still are spend money, and we still securing property, and we still are open schools, and we still have our madrasas and everything. Right? But we're bombarded every day with sexual this and that and this and that. It's there. And we have to overcome all those things, because we have to understand what the hell is going on, get to the, find out all the nitty-gritties of the thing, get involved, and deflect and so forth, and safeguard our children. They wanted our women naked. They wanted our women hijab off. We've overcome that, but it's still there. They still do that. Because once you can distort the woman, you have an inroad in morally, create decadence. No, they are trying our children. And that's not just now, but since them come with all these new things, you know, and so forth. They're teaching and projecting and taking our innocent ones and violating their innocence. So if we are not responsible parents, they'll be successful. So why is it then that the African Caribbean, who are parents, why are we not responsible? You see it there? See, if we look at the thing them and understand the thing properly. So where is the bishop, the Archbishop of England, showing you that this is the way to construct your life? And these are the things that we're not going to permit, and so forth. They're not there. They're the ones that are helping those things to go through. They're the ones that have the last vote in Parliament. The church. The ministers. But what is it that we know? We're going like we know. Know what fart? It's the theologians that run the blasted ship. It's the theologians that run the ship. Not the aristocrats and this guy that talking about economics. And not them. Them have to make the books them level. Yeah. And them have to make the arms and go around beating up other people. And extorting money from the general population to further their evil ways. But the pastor them, the bishops and all these people, they don't oppose them. So when the 12 of them sit down there and look at the white paper, them can approve or disapprove. See? That's how Britain democracy is established. And we haven't broken down that barrier with Queen Elizabeth and gone in there and put our people in position to reason with those people. The Muslims have. The Muslims reasons with those people. Right? And be cordial with those people, because it's Islam that we want to adhere to. See? So where's the black man now? They're assimilated. They don't even know that's going on, but they're assimilated. And then the other ones, then people want to say about the oligarchies, they're this, they're that. Look at the science they use. Later for that. Where I say, guidance, gone.